My name is Betty Williams and I'm the patron of Technocamps. It's 25 years this year before when we started Technocamps. I'm only just going to wish you a warm welcome. Croeso cynnes iawn I gyd. Very warm welcome to you all. Just to let you know that when we started Technocamps, way back 25 years ago, I had fair hair. But why we started it was we were running a summer placement scheme for students. And when I was going into the lecture theatres, asked to remind the students to apply for these summer placements, I'd look at the theatre, lecture theatre, 80 to 90 boys and 2 or 3 girls. So we thought we'd try and do something about it. So I begged the computer science department to give me some money to get the girls together. So the first year, I got the first, second, third years and all the postgraduates together, and we had a lunch. And the following year, I invited the students from Swansea Tech, that was then, and they came down and we all had a lunch together. And a friend of mine, who's sadly not with us now, said that is that recognises International Women's Day. Well, I'd never heard of it. Honestly, I'd never heard of it. So I went home, researched it, and from that day onwards, we badged it International Women's Day. And we're trying to encourage more girls to take on computing and IT jobs, which has always been a male-dominated industry. So what we started then was Technocamps, to catch the girls at a very young age. And yes, Technocamps has been so very successful, and the girls love computing as much, as even better than the boys. So hopefully we'll get a 50-50 work regime for girls and boys in computing and IT. So very welcome. Can I hand you now to our host, Mr. Kevin Johns.
You made it. I still can't believe that they asked me to host an event with a scientific connection. I'm thick as 2 short planks. I'm not being funny. But I really love this event, and during the last, excuse me, photograph. During the last 12 months, I've done 2 of the Technocamp meetings. One in Treforest, Portbeath, and one in Swansea University. And it's great to see the young people getting involved, boys, girls, primary schools, comprehensive schools, or there were some posh schools there, so we have to say secondary or grammar, but they were comps, to be honest with you. And it's fantastic. The work that the Technocamps team do is absolutely amazing. It's a bit of an emotional night for me. I wasn't here last year, I was on holiday. But the year before we were in the arena, the Swansea Building Society arena. And for me, I wasn't sure if I would ever do one of these events again, because I'd been recently diagnosed at the time with stage 4 cancer and told there was nothing they could do. Fortunately, they found something they could do, and which is why I'm here tonight, to be honest with you. And I'm 7 stone lighter than I was that night in the arena, and thanks to the National Health Service and an amazing treatment called immunotherapy, I stand before you cancer-free, which is amazing. So every now and again, I tell that because I'm so proud of our NHS, and I just to give people hope, because who knows what is sitting at your table. People keep their things to themselves, who knows, but there's always hope. So it's going to be a great night. So what we'll do, we'll introduce our first speaker, then we'll have some food, which is why, not the reason you're here to hear speakers. And just to remind you, this is the home of Swansea City Football Club. And we'll all be back here tomorrow to play Middlesbrough. I'm not confidently saying anything as yet. It is the 25th anniversary of the dinner, which is an amazing event. Betty, you and the team have done fantastic things over the years. I have to say as well that we are sponsored by Rockfront Global. They're not, what? Or Rockfield Global. They're not yours, so why do I bother getting it right? I'm not being funny. If they can't be bothered to turn up, I can't be bothered to get it right. There's nobody here from that company, is there? Thank the Lord for that. Can you imagine you won't get a check, would you? Our first speaker is Gertrude Chisamba Laity. There's a lot more to say, don't get up yet. Alright. Gertrude is a cybersecurity senior project manager at a FTSE 100 company and has a non-linear journey into STEM marked by resilience, reinvention and a passion for learning. I haven't got a clue what that means, to be honest with you, but I'm going to be listening with great interest. Her journey shows that growth often comes from unexpected places. She's passionate about excelling in her career and mentoring women carving their paths in STEM. You're going to love this young lady who lives in Porthcawl, which is a CF postcode, which is close to Cardiff. Have a little wander downstairs, see something you won't see in Cardiff. It's called a trophy cabinet, alright? There you go, take a photograph and take it back to Porthcawl with you, alright? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fantastic lady who is at the top of her profession. Gertrude Chisamba Laity. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Okay. A warm welcome to everyone here today, and thank you very much for actually inviting me. This is a big honor considering what this is all about, and many thanks to Betty and everyone else that has put this event together. So my journey has been slightly mentioned by Kev, and I'm going to be talking about the power of mentorship because that has been quite important in how I've had to grow, really being in STEM, because it's not an industry that we often tend to find a lot of women. So we'll start off with a slight introduction. I think part of that has been done. I feel slightly awkward because this was really for International Women's Day. So I'm a mother of 3. My husband is here. I cropped him out of that photo, as well as our eldest son. But now, again, yeah, it's one of those. So, darling, I do love you, but that's me with our daughters. So we're just going to be covering really why mentorship matters, some of the different types, the impact of mentorship through some of my stories and some of the challenges that I've actually had to overcome, and maybe how some of you can also get involved. What I'm going to ask right now is if you can imagine on a nice sunny day, maybe down where I live, Porthcawl, so you're down in Resbay, you're probably about a mile away offshore, and someone has got the courtesy or the niceness within them to give you a surfboard. Slight challenge, you're not a strong swimmer, nor can you surf. However, you're expected to get to shore. Now, this on its own is challenging. Can you make it there? You probably can, but maybe not without you having a bit of some salsa with your surfboard. Different scenario. Still sunny, still in Porthcawl, but this time you probably have got an expert. In some cases, you've got maybe a superstar, a surfer like Molly Pickham. You've got a world international surfer showing you how to pull these parts off, how to surf, how to get to the end. They're not really pushing you forward where you probably won't be able to lead, or leaving you way behind that you can't follow. They're right beside you. And this journey, as much as you might have challenges, it's doable. As we go into mentorship, why does it actually matter? There's a lot of representation there that really does matter, because mentorship provides support to navigate unique challenges. I am a woman of color, and being female and also being in tech or STEM does have its challenges. And when you walk into a room, we tend to often look around to see who else is there, who else can I align myself to or with. So representation does matter, and it's a case where we probably need to look more into it. Mentorship itself helps with acceleration of growth. And often, again, I was talking to my colleagues the other day that we often hear people wanting to go into leadership. Leadership is great, but how many positions do we have of leadership? So whilst we're accelerating growth, it doesn't always have to be upwards. It can also be sidewards. Some people are comfortable in the positions that they're in, but really we need to understand how we can help accelerate that. Creating change. When we uplift each other, we make the industry more inclusive. I know it's International Women's Day, but let's help make it inclusive. We don't want to be here 10 more years down the line, and then we're looking how to get men into tech because women have taken over. So we really need to make it inclusive. Communication. It helps develop skills such as listening, asking, giving, and also receiving feedback. If you ask my husband, he says I talk a lot, but I am learning. So through mentorship, I'm also learning to listen a bit more. Again, with different types of mentorship, we do have the formal versus informal. I tend to like the more informal ones. Go chat with someone, see how we align, have that communication or connection. And then the formal parts are also good. You have industries going, you have a lot of areas at the moment, like READ, for instance, that are really building up these mentorship programs. So it's another way of having formal connections. Peer mentorship, I think a lot of us have had those, where you join a new maybe team or you join a new organization, you have buddy systems, so that tends to help. My personal favorite is reverse mentorship. I work for a FTSE 100 company, and we have what we call the graduate program, and with that we have those junior employees mentoring the senior ones, where they come in, they bridge knowledge gaps, and a lot of them are a lot more technical than some of us who have been in the industry for decades. So those are the different types I wanted to touch upon. So again, really just a snippet of how my journey started. It started with me working in finance. Coming into tech was one of those things where I just needed some money to be able to pay my bills. Tech seems to pay well, so I thought, well, I'll just have a stopgap. Then once that's done, I'll go back to finance. That never happened. I actually started to enjoy it. Whilst I was in tech though, I faced a lot of challenges, and the ones I wanted to bring out tonight were imposter syndrome as well as self-doubt. It was a case where I really felt as I grew up within my career, I needed to find a mentor. It just felt like there were so many and too many rivers to cross, and I just did not know where to start. So my story with imposter syndrome starts with one of the early companies that I joined, and I remember I got really friendly with one of the HR ladies, and I'd been successful in finding a new job in a different organization. And on my last day, she said to me, "Oh, Gertrude, what am I actually going to do now that you're going? This is really going to mess up my stats. I mean, where am I going to find a black, lovely lady that actually is female and works in tech?" Well, at the time, I won't lie, I really was impressed with that. I thought, oh, they're going to miss me. This is really cool. Felt somewhat like a triple threat. And I thought, well, where are they going to find us? We'll sound like unicorns of some sort. But I shouldn't laugh. But what that did, though, is later on, as I grew within my career, it really started to impact me. I felt like a fraud because I'd walk into rooms, like I mentioned earlier on. I would scan the room. Instead of focusing on what was at hand or what I should be doing, I'd be looking to think, oh, whose stats am I actually promoting right now? Am I that person that doesn't deserve to be here, such that I'm going to be such a bad example for all the other capable ladies, maybe women of color or what have you, that will come along, and I'll be that example where people will be like, oh, do you remember that year that we hired Gertrude? Oh, she messed it up. So that really started playing in my head. But what I did then is I found my mentor, who unfortunately wasn't here tonight because of other commitments. And what she told me was, there's always room and enough of it at the table. I have to believe in myself. If I walk in and I doubt myself, no one else is going to believe me. And if I don't know things, that's the best position to be in. Because how else am I going to learn? It'll give me a chance to understand what other people have got to offer, how I can improve myself, And if anything as well, I can help make those changes. If I feel there's a gap, then I'm a fresh mind. I can bring in those changes, look for those that want to take part, and again, have that representation. With my mentor, she's a little bit of a nuclear. So again, with that, I needed to improve of my self-esteem and confidence. She got in touch with Technocamps, and there was a day that they had different companies, big brands as well, that were here with the year 10s. Now in my head I thought, year 10 girls, they're a tough crowd. But had it been maybe a few years back, I probably wouldn't have bothered coming. But because I thought I signed up for this, I have to show up. I came with a colleague of mine, and it was a beautiful day. What we didn't know was that the year 10s were actually going to be giving feedback. Well, again, if I had known, I probably would have faked a sickness of some sort. But we came anyway, and the feedback was phenomenal. And that was some of the feedback that we had. The one I've centered in blue there, where we had them saying we would have loved this day in year 9 before options. Quite a few of the girls mentioned that. It got me thinking, as organizations, are we really doing enough? Because we seem to want to manage upwards. We're looking at leadership positions as we go up and what have you. But you've got the young minds coming through, where a lot of them need this representation. They need the encouragement. They need us to be there with them. It's not for everyone, I get that with mentorship. But really, if we're there to support them and maybe answer some of the difficult questions that they have, then we're most probably going in the right direction. Again, this is one of my favorite personals. The ladies from Admiral really inspired me to think about working there. Not that I'm a walking advert for Admiral, but that was really good feedback to take, because Admiral is a place that you really can be you. So you can bring your full self to work as well. Add some stats onto that. This is some stats that I got from the mentoring statistics. You need to know 87% of people say that mentors and mentees feel more confident due to their relationships. Now that's a large number. And 97% of people with mentors feel highly impactful and valuable. But the current reality is only 37% of those professionals actually have a mentor. So there's a massive gap there. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need somebody holding your hand, but you can also be that person that can make someone's life a hell lot easier when they go out in the world, or maybe they need to know a lot more about the STEM subjects that we have. Again, with mentoring, as I mentioned before, you've got a lot of things. It's not just about managing up, it's not about leadership, but you can have advice, success, direction, coaching, and support. I was actually chatting with a good friend of mine recently, and he said, you know what, I always feel the pressure of going into some of these positions, because if you go into them, how do you sleep at night knowing that you have to look after hundreds of people and what have you? And the analogy that I had was that of being a driver. When you start driving, it's daunting. You have to do the checks. I don't know if it's still the 5. Clearly, I don't do the 5 now when I drive off, but I'm not sure if it's the 5 and over the shoulder. And when you finally get to pass, on your first day without your instructor in the car, you do your checks, you'll have a car whiz past, you probably do your checks again, 2 more, 3 more cars pass, then you just bulldoze onto the road and off you go. Again, I work for an insurance company, I would like to think you're all sensible people in here. So with that then, with time, you build up on that. And before you know it, you'll most probably be in autopilot. You'll drive from one point to another. That doesn't mean those dangers are away. You just get used to things. Challenges come through, you work through them. And before you know it, it becomes your second nature. You do things. And it doesn't stop things creeping up, but that's how you learn, and that's how you strengthen yourself. And with that, you can also support others. So that was the little chat that we had. The power of giving back. I always feel if you have someone taking the time and investing in you, it's always good to pay it forward. So what I also did is I decided to join a program, Weeks Rise, and that was done by BAE Systems sometime last year. And I had a mentee with me. And in my head, I just thought, right, I work in the delivery space, they'll align me with someone that works in the delivery space. Oh no, they didn't do that. They aligned me with the data analyst, which was quite difficult in a sense, because that wasn't within my realm. But what that did is it taught me patience, it taught me to listen, how best to actually support them. And what I also did was I ended up going out, finding out information, support from colleagues. And unfortunately, one of them isn't here today, but Hannah Davies is one of our hots for data. And she gave me amazing support and information to be able to help my mentee. So it's true what they say, it takes a village, because it literally did. And with that, I had that feedback back where they say, thank you for everything over the program. Now, true altruism doesn't really exist. Well, that's my opinion on that one. And it felt good getting that, because I knew somebody else had supported me. I was a better support system to my mentee. Okay, with the bull, let's leave that until the end. That's one to come. But again, just to sum up, with mentorship, it's not just about career progression. It's about those skill building parts, confidence building, navigating challenges together. And if you haven't already, I personally encourage you to find a mentor, become one, or you can be both. And now onto the bull. As you can tell, I've got an accent. So I'm Zimbabwean, and I'm from the Shona tribe. And growing up, we often used to hear a proverb about that specific bull, that it actually takes, and the proverb goes as, Nzombe huru yakabva mukurerwa. What that means is, for that bull to be as shiny, beautiful, clean as it is, it's because it's been reared and supported well. And really just to translate that, great people are raised and supported by other people. You don't have to be a unicorn or a mythical creature. You just have to be there to support others. And that, for me, is the power of mentorship. Thank you.
Wow, Gertrude, everyone. Can we have a big round of applause? Oh, how awesome is that?